Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the upcoming community day on this Sunday. We're going to take a look at the best teams, the IVs, and everything that you need to know for the Vulpix community day. So if you enjoy those type of videos, feel free to subscribe to the channel. But we can start off right here with what we need to know towards the community day. There's going to be the graphics from Galaxy here. Of course, community day is going to be starting from 2 p.m. until 5 p.m. on the 1st of February, featuring two Pokemon in Kanto Vulpix and Alolan Vulpix, which is going to be interesting. Two Pokemon at the same time is going to be nice, and of course, this videos are mainly focused towards the PvP aspect, the Go Battle League aspect, but I, of course, have to take a look first at what we have to deal with here right now. We're going to have, two Pokemon that both can be shiny with a higher shiny chance, which is kind of cool as well. Shiny preview you see here as well on the screen. Alolan Ninetales is getting a bit more purplish, and the other one is gonna get a bit more silver, which is kind of cool, like silver instead of red, and the other one instead of blue it's more purple. So like kind of nice shinies. I like both of the shinies quite a bit. But what do we have here? We're going to have the 3 times incense, which is interesting. It's just always going to be the case. 3 times catch XP for the people who are not having the XP yet. It's going to be very nice. But what's actually really important this time around is catch candy and candy XL chance times 2. This Pokemon itself, both of them are actually quite viable for the opened Ultra League. And you see here as well on the right side, the IVs that you kind of want to have are for the Pokemon. And we see here for the Ultra League, for the normal Ninetales, you want to have a 9, 15, 15. And for the, for the Alolan Ninetales, you want to have a 7, 15, 15. We will take a look here today as well, which one is better, Shadow or non-Shadow. There's going to be an interesting thing towards it coming up as well. Definitely stay tuned. But we're going to have a special background that's going to be interesting as well for some people who are collecting them, not me. We have an extra special trade, which is always going to be happening, and we're of course going to get 2 new moves. The moves are Energy Ball on the Kanto Ninetales as well as Chilling Water on the Alolan Ninetales. Those 2 moves are specifically there in order to counter the weaknesses of those Pokemon. With Energy Ball, the Kanto Ninetales can hit those ground as well as rock type as well as water type Pokemon for super effective damage, which are all super effective against the fire typing, while with Chilling Water you're going to be able to hit fire type Pokemon and rock type Pokemon super effective, which are usually super effective against ice type Pokemon. So you kind of have here an interesting thing going on, basically, because you're going to have at this time 2 moves that are not like stab or not like signature moves that are very designed in order to counter the weaknesses of those Pokemon. Are they going to be interesting for PvP? Or let's take a look at it and let's have a little bit of an opinion towards it as well. We're going to start off with the Alolan Ninetales for the Open Great League. We're going to start off with the Zero Shield scenario. And what you see here on the left side is going to be for the next scenarios as well. It's going to be here. The first one is going to be Powder Snow, Weather Ball, Ice, as well as Dazzling Gleam, so standard. Then we have the same as a Shadow. And then we have Charm and Psyshock as a Shadow. Those first 3 are current available, like Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales combination that makes sense in Shadow and non-Shadow. And then afterwards, we're going to have the same, but we exchange the move that's not Weather Ball Ice, because Weather Ball Ice is going to be absolutely a must-have on this Pokemon. The main reason why you run Ninetales is Weather Ball. You're going to exchange the other move with the Chilling Water. And what we see in the Zero Shield scenario is that every single setup here is going to be worse. Not a single one is going to be better. Is this going to be the case as well in the One Shield? It is the case in the One Shield. And so now you might ask yourself, okay, is the community day move bad? I wouldn't directly say so, because if we're going to take a look at the 2 shield scenario, we're going to see that the average rating for all 3 different sets is better. So what we can tell already from this one, just here in the 2 shield scenario for the Alolan Ninetales, is that what you want to have with this Pokemon is a 2 shield scenario. This is kind of where it can shine. But also, if you already think about the idea behind the move itself, it kind of tells you on where you would want to have it in team. So now we're going to take a look at the team section. By the way, just general service treat before. We're going to have 1 team for each Pokemon for each league. So 4 teams total. We have 2 different Pokemon. We have 2 different leagues that they are viable in Ultra League as well as Great League. So we have 1 team for the Great League for Alolan Ninetales and 1 team for the Ultra League. And then we have the same for the Kanto Ninetales afterwards. So this is going to be it for the Alolan Ninetales. We see here as well that Chilling Water has some potential, but mainly in a 2 shield scenario. And what we see as well is that the difference mainly is happening if you have Powder Snow. Because Powder Snow allows you to generate energy faster, and this is the one issue for Chilling Water on Alolan Ninetales, is actually the energy value. If this move would have been a 40 energy move, it would have been a whole different story. Because Alolan Ninetales would be able to pace with both Charm as well as Powder Snow quite a bit faster to the move. The issue is that Chilling Water is a 45 energy move with 60 damage that drops the opponent's attack guaranteed. But it's very difficult for this Pokemon to get to, because instead of 5 Powder Snows, you need 6 Powder Snows instead of, I think it's 5 charms as well, because charm is 3 turns, it takes a little bit longer. Instead of 5 charms, you need 6 charms in order to get to the Chilling Water. And this is honestly just a very big difference in terms of pacing, which can be very difficult for a Pokemon like Alolan Ninetales to overcome. But let's take a look at team here. This is kind of where I would want to run it in the Open Great League. In the Ultra League, there's going to be a team that you can copy in the Great League the same way as well, which I feel like would make a lot of sense, which we're going to talk about as well. But this is, for example, a different alternative option. What we have here is basically, a Pokemon that wants to have a Water type in the lead and wants to utilize Chilling Water as a say-swap. Any other way, Chilling Water maybe makes sometimes some sense if you win the lead and you have your Ninetales in the lead, but any other way, I don't think it really makes too much sense to have Chilling Water on Ninetales unless you kind of want to use it as a bait. And this is what you're trying to achieve here right now. We have Empoleon, which is fantastic against both Rock as well as Fire-type Pokemon, which Alolan Ninetales doesn't want to face, but it's going to be also part of Water-type, the Empoleon, with Hydrokin as a hard-hitting damage, which then means if you swap out with your Ninetales, you're going to be able to maybe bait out those Pokemon that Empoleon would be strong against, where Water-type damage would be strong against. And the thing is here as well, Empoleon is very weak to fighting as well as Ground-type Pokemon, which is, other than Electric, the only weakness that this Pokemon I think has. But basically what you have here with Alolan Ninetales is a Fairy type and an Ice type. With a Fairy typing, you might bait out the Fighting types to go away faster, because what you can do is, like, you could have like Charm, for example, which I don't think is making a lot of sense with Chilling Water, by the way. I don't really think that Chilling Water Charm makes a lot of sense, because it's just the pacing doesn't really work out that well. But it's still something I want to test out. But basically what you want to do here is you kind of can swap out into your Fairy type, and they might just swap out because I see the Fairy typing on the top. Be like, oh, I have to swap out fast, I have to panic there. But then you still might be able to punish something with Chilling Water. But if you face a Ground type in the lead, you actually have quite a lot of play with the Ninetales, because, yeah, your lead is weak to it, but Ninetales is super effective against Ground type Pokemon, and Altaria is going to be one of the hardest enemies in the back as well. Of course, Empoleon and Altaria core is one of the most broken cores that you can have in Pokemon GO right now, so this team would most likely make a lot of sense. Let's take a look at the Ultra League for the Ninetales. Alolan Ninetales coming up here. For the Ultra League, we're going to see that this Pokemon is performing worse again in any scenario, basically, here with a new move. Now for the XL, by the way, this is again where you kind of want to catch those Vulpix as well. You kind of need a lot of XL candy for both this Vulpix, like Ninetales, as well as the other Ninetales. But as you can see here, in the one-shield scenario now, it is still worse. But can we catch up in the two-shield scenario again like last time? The answer is yes. The overall ranking is again a bit stronger for this Pokemon with Chilling Water in the two-shield scenario, which means they have just a better two-shield scenario. I know that sounds crazy, but you have a little bit more play when you are having two shields in play. The thing is though as well, you actually have a worse overall record, as you see here as well in the middle, for this Pokemon, because you don't have the coverage that you usually want to have. So it's kind of hit or miss. And this is the thing as well, like, it's kind of my ultimate verdict for this Pokemon. I don't know if I would invest for Alolan Ninetales with this moveset for the Ultra League, because it's quite expensive, and I'm not too sure if Chilling Water is actually going to be very strong. That would be something that we would need to test out. Generally speaking, the Shadow version of Ninetales I think is a little bit better than the non-Shadow version, but both of them are very fine. Like, honestly, both are not really having too much of a difference. Like, even if take a look here real quick. The top one is the non-Shadow, the one below is the Shadow. Both do the same. The Shadow is a better win rate, but the non-Shadow is a better average ranking. So, like, at the end of the day, like, it really doesn't matter if you have a Shadow or non-Shadow, just generally, again, for you to understand that. And here's the team that I kind of was saying as well, you can run in the Great League. You can use Jellicent lead, Ninetales Say-Swap, and then have a Fairy type in the back. Could be Clefable, could be Florges, could be not really Togekiss. Togekiss isn't really the greatest one there. There are other alternatives most likely as well. Tinkaton, for example, makes a lot of sense. And you can bait out, for example, kind of Fire type Pokemon, for example, which would be kind of fantastic. I actually would think that Tinkaton makes a lot of sense for this team. But yeah, this team is also kind of makes a lot of sense here, just generally in the Ultra League. You can even run Tinkaton in the Ultra League. But again, we use here the Ninetales as a Say-Swap with a Water type in the lead. I think this is the only way where Chilling Water makes any kind of sense. And that is, yeah, it for the Alolan Ninetales. Let's take a look at the Kanto version of it. Kanto Ninetales is going to be up next. We're going to take a look at the Great League here. Great League, we're going to see here, of course, Energy Ball got added. A 55 energy move, I think, for 90 damage with a potential chance of dropping the opponent's defense 10%, I think. Yeah, that should be what Energy Ball is. And this is also where Energy Ball has some issues. Energy Ball is very expensive for not that much damage, and while the type coverage itself is really nice on this Pokemon, it's a lot of times just not really worth it. And that's something that we see here as well. This is going to be the Zero Shield scenario. The non-Shadow Ninetales actually is the best one here, which is kind of funny. But later on, this is going to change quite significantly. The Shadow Ninetales is by far the best Ninetales form that you can have, especially as you can see here already. And what you see as well is that, especially the non-Shadow one, goes from 21 wins to 13 wins with the... oh, never mind. Actually, here, maybe we should explain this as well. The first 4 are the different kind of movesets of Ninetales that are without Energy Ball. So you have the first one here being the non-Shadow Ninetales with Overheat. You have the next one, the Shadow Ninetales with Overheat, then the Shadow Ninetales with Scorching Sand, and then the Shadow Ninetales with Psyshock. The reason why I only have one time non-Shadow is because non-Shadow generally is considered worse. Shadow is quite a bit better with the Kanto Ninetales, and because I don't have 3 times with Energy Ball because it doesn't make any sense other than changing the Shadow bonus on it in terms of the moveset, because Weather Ball, again, is quite important for Ninetales to have, and that's why only the bottom 2 ones are the ones that you kind of want to pay attention towards for, like, the new Energy Ball update. As you can see here, the bottom one, the Shadow Ninetales with Energy Ball, actually can perform quite well. It's gonna perform the 3rd best, but it's not going to beat Overheat. The thing is here, Overheat is going to be kind of a sim hero. Overheat is not going to be as strong actually when you play it. Otherwise, everybody would play Ninetales, because in the Great League, in the 2-shield scenario, you have a 30 wins to 11 loss rate, which is wild. That is absolutely ridiculous. It's kind of unheard of. But nobody's running it because you need to get all the baits correctly in order for this Pokemon to perform it like this. So basically here, I feel like that Ninetales with Energy Ball is going to have a little bit of play potentially, especially in the Great League, because you're going to have the nice coverage there. And there's one more beneficial thing towards Energy Ball. With 55 energy, as far as I know, if you go for 1 Weather Ball first, you take actually 1 less fast move to get to the Energy Ball. Or like just generally like an Energy Ball plus a Weather Ball together. I think exactly 90 energy that you needed, which means it's 10 fast moves. Which is just kind of nice, because you kind of, if you go for Weather Ball with Ninetales, you have 36 energy after 4 Embers with this Pokemon. You have 1 residual energy, and this allows you to get to the next Energy Ball 1 fast move faster, which is kind of a cool combination at least. It's like it is a bit faster, which also kind of applies to Overheat though as well, which is also a 55 energy move as far as I know. So generally speaking, the issue here with this move is that the energy is quite high though for it. The coverage itself would be cool, but if Energy Ball goes down to 45 energy, for example, Ninetales would be a serious threat. But yet again, we kind of want to try to use it as like a bait. In this case, it's a bit more difficult to build teams around the Kanto Ninetales. Here, I have the Florges in the lead, which has perfect coverage against especially like ground-type Pokemon, which you need, because Ninetales is going to be our bait for that. Florges itself is going to be weak against Steel-type Pokemon, which Ninetales can deal with, but our closer is going to be especially the Shadow Steelix, which is going to be able to cover up not only the weaknesses of Florges, but also it is weak to water as well as ground-type Pokemon, which you kind of want to bait out of with the Ninetales and punish them with Energy Ball. So it kind of goes hand in hand and Ninetales can support the Steelix as much as possible, and also it can utilize the shields here in order to do a lot of damage and try to align yourself with it. And in general, I think this is going to be a very, very good team here itself to play around the Shadow Kanto Ninetales. For the Ultra League, let's take a look at this one. This Pokemon needs to have a 9-15-15 ranking, so it's a bit different than the Alolan version. Alolan is 7-15-15, here it's 9-15-15. And we see as well again that the Shadow Ninetales is going to already have the better play in the 0-shield scenario. And the 1-shield scenario, again, the Shadow Ninetales is going to be the best kind of version of it. And the 2-shield scenario, we see here already that that actually even the Energy Ball as a coverage move in the Ultra League doesn't seem to be very great. And I do think that's going to be the Overheat version. It's just going to be way better for the Ultra League, which you see as well in the average rating. But if you want to still run Energy Ball in the Ultra League, this would be the team that I would suggest to you. Como in the lead, which is going to be good against like a lot of the Dragon type, but also against the Water type Pokemon, resisting the Water type damage. Against Steelix, it's just like Steelix Ninetales backline, I think makes the most amount of sense just generally. If you don't want to run Steelix, you can also run the Talonflame here. But this team makes the most amount of sense in my opinion if you want to run the Energy Ball on the Kanto Ninetales. And that's going to be it for this video. I hope you have a great community day. It's going to be in like 2 days from now from this video. And yeah, if you enjoyed this and if you want to see more like this, just support the channel by subscribing to this channel. I'm, by the way, streaming again now on this channel as well. So definitely stay tuned for the live streams as well. Check in with them and I will see you then.